Rain won't let up. No matter how much time passes, it just won't stop. Ever since that day, the sound of raindrops has been burned into my mind. Such an awful, heart-rending sound, driving me to strip my life down to shadows. And yet, no matter what else I abandon, nothing will make the sound of the rain stop. Osawa stared at a postcard that was nestled into the final page of the photo album. He purchased it 2 years earlier on a trip with Maria to the Middle East. Originally used to indicate Iran, Afghanistan, and the region surrounding them. In modern times, the term refers to part of southwestern Asia, excluding India and Afghanistan, and the section of northeastern Africa along the Mediterranean coast. However, in Japan as well as the US, the term Middle East is often understood to refer specifically to those parts of the region with a strong Islamic influence. He mentioned that he was being sent there on business, and Maria had just blurted out, "I want to go with you." She recently developed an interest in the Middle East conflict. Apparently, she had been yearning to see the area firsthand. The ongoing friction in the Palestine region between the Jewish people who founded the nation of Israel and the Arabs who had been living there previously. The religious and historical context of this cultural clash is well beyond the scope of what can be elucidated here. His daughter's newfound curiosity had taken him aback. She had always tended to be quiet and self-contained. Clumsy conversations aboard the airplane, the meals eaten together in awkward silence. It all felt like such a distant memory to Osawa now. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't let you do that." He heard Kajiwara's voice outside the door. "Why ever not? I'm just going out for a bit." The detective was arguing with Hi, great. "Just who was it who told me I should try to go out about my life as normal?" Osawa's wife sneered. "Ma'am, please wait. How would you feel about being told just to sit around and wait?" Ai's angry shriek jerked Osawa to his feet. He hurried back from the steady to try to calm her down. Gosh, man, I don't like her. Ma'am, please wait." By the time Osawa had made his way downstairs, his wife had already stormed outside despite Kajiwara's attempts to stop her. Osawa doubted anything he could have said would have stopped Ai from leaving. Trying to physically keep her from going out would only have made for an even worse uproar. He was glad that at least it didn't come to that. He was turning to head back to the study when Kajiwara caught his eye. Resigned, he headed down the stairs and bowed to the detective. "Any idea where she's going?" Kajiwara asked. "I mean, at a time like this?" Osawa shook his head. "I wouldn't know. I didn't think so. You know, your wife really is something else." Osawa arched an eyebrow. "That's one way to describe her. A rather rude way, as a matter of fact. Oh, no offense intended. Just that ever since this case started, you've both been holed up in your own respective rooms." The more Kajiwara spoke, the more irritated Osawa became. "What's your point?" he demanded. "It just means you haven't been having any, marital discourse?" According to one survey, in roughly 6% of households, discourse between spouses is largely non-existent. Various reasons for this were offered by the couples in the questions. Many claimed that they were too tired to have the energy to talk, or stated we wind up fighting when we talk, or we have nothing to talk about. "Mind your own business," Osawa snapped. Kajiwara dipped his head deferentially. "Two of us not talking is a new thing anyhow," so I did have a policy of not having pointless conversations. It is quite common for Kenji Osawa to make it through an entire day without having a single conversation. On many days, he opens his mouth only to eat or brush his teeth. His current record is a streak of 14 consecutive days during which he didn't talk to anyone. He's got it more worse than life than I do. Huh? It didn't look as though Kajiwara quite understood. Microorganisms such as viruses don't have conversations, and yet still they continually propagate in order to survive. Thinking about viruses, I was back in familiar territory. I felt a surge of confidence. Once you have a clear purpose, conversation is unnecessary. And do you have a clear purpose for the relationship with your wife, Mr. Osawa? Of course I do. To be a family. Arms crossed, Kajiwara struck a thoughtful pose. At least I've learned one useful thing today, Mr. Osawa, namely that you don't like to have pointless conversations. It's a good thing to know. Kajiwara crossed his arms for a moment, then crossed them right back again, furrowing his brow. But see, that's funny. You seem to have a tendency to have pointless conversations with me, and because you keep coming to talk to me. Osawa saw red. You don't leave me much of a choice. Tanaka poked his head out of the living room. This is such a weird picture. Is something the matter? He asked. No. Osawa struggled to regain his calm. Perfect timing, actually. Something I need to talk to you about. He turned back to Kajiwara. My apologies, Detective, but would you mind giving us some privacy? Kajiwara didn't move. Detective? Osawa gave the policeman a hard look and saw him crack a smile. Yes, what is it, Kajiwara said at last. Don't you play dumb with me. Give us some privacy. Is this a discussion I shouldn't overhear? Actually, yes, it's work-related. There are business matters I prefer to keep confidential. Ah, I see. Reluctantly getting to his feet, Kajiwara slipped away into the living room. Tanaka, Osawa began. About those emails? He stopped abruptly. Kajiwara reappeared in the living room door, staring right at them. What are you doing? Osawa demanded. Oh, should I not be watching? Osawa felt like he was about to burst a blood vessel. I mean, he never told me that I couldn't watch. Because I should be obvious. Gosh, this guy's weird. He's the more weird one. The detective made a scolded puppy face and closed the living room door. Osawa let out a heavy sigh. He'd never been an extrovert, but he didn't really call human interaction being quite this draining. True that, even I'm tired. Anyway, sir, Tanaka prompted, you were saying? Yes, about those emails. Something doesn't make sense. I don't understand how Mr. Makino was able to get that antiviral agent to anyone on the outside. Sharing an Okoshi Pharmaceuticals drug with external sources while it was still under development required the approval of an executive committee that included Osawa himself. There should have been no way that antiviral could be sent out without his knowledge. Tanaka hesitated a few moments before responding. Are you aware of the strife between the company president and the chairman? Osawa shook his head. He was a researcher through and through, factional rivalries held no interest for him whatsoever. Makino effectively leads the chairman's team and their antiviral agent in their pet project. Despite being the executive officer in charge of the project, however, Makino still needs the president's approval too. You know what? Forget about that right now. What do we do about security? In theory, it was physically impossible to get the antiviral out of the lab without detection. Entry to the biohazard laboratory where it was kept required fingerprint authentication for both Osawa and Tanaka. Technology that allows individuals to be verified by scanning the fingerprints is one element of biometrics, the measurement of physical characteristics to identify individuals. There are even devices that can identify people by checking the veins in the palms of their hands or the irises of their eyes. Without the two of them there, nobody could even get into the storage facility. Because the dangerous virus is also stored there, the lab where the antiviral is kept is protected by an ID checkpoint, as well as a sophisticated 3-tiered lock system that requires fingerprint authentication. Multiple security guards are also posted outside the laboratory entrance 24 hours a day, making it all but impossible for an unauthorized person to get into the secured storage area. Tanaka followed his drift. Ah, yes, I see what you mean. He inclined his head and thought it as Osawa continued. Could someone have overwritten the fingerprint authentication program? Let's check the entry. There's 3 choices. Let's check the entry logs. The store section will just have to ask Makino in person. Entry logs. Anyone who wanted to get inside had to present their ID card to the security guard on duty. It should be possible to check the computer logs to see if there had been any suspicious activity in the system. Tanaka shook his head. I already checked the logs, sir. There was no evidence of anything suspicious. You're going to check for yourself, though, if you're that worried. No, I believe you. Yet the fact that was that the antiviral had been used for clinical testing. Either Makino had taken it from the laboratory personally or someone working on his orders had done so. But how? Was there really some way they could have bypassed lab security without anyone else knowing? Osawa couldn't think how it would be possible. The room door opened with a soft creak. It was Kajiwara, and he looked stiff and pale. Something terrible has happened, he said. Visions of tragedy flooded Osawa's mind. Maria? Is she... Kajiwara shook his head. No, it's not that. What is it then? Osawa asked, his voice trembling. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. You see... The toilet's clogged. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. Plunger in hand, Osawa stabbed vigorously at the recalcitrant toilet bowl, struggling to loosen the unseen blockage. A plain utility implement consisting of a soft hemispherical rubber suction cup attached to the end of a dowel. By pressing the cup over the opening of a drain that has been clogged, one can apply suction pressure to jostle the blockage free. It makes a variety of sounds when used, such as glub, glork, slug, slorp, sloop, and pop. Kajiwara was at his side, wiping up the floor with a rag. How did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding? I was hoping you could tell me that. The plunger sucked and slurped at this porcelain basin. This was a first for Osawa. He never tried to unclog a toilet before in his life. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. What the hell are you talking about? What about this constitutes a blessing? It just meant that at least this happened before you needed to do your business. With the slightest hint of guile on his face, Kajiwara picked up his bucket and headed for the sink back in the washing area. Grumbling to himself, Osawa pumped the plunger over and over again. This was almost funny. Almost ridiculous, in fact. His daughter had been kidnapped, and he was stuck unclogging a toilet. He was quite possibly caught up in a major corporate conspiracy, and here he was, unclogging a toilet. Tanaka poked his head into the bathroom. Did you fix it yet? If you need to urinate, then use the restroom on the second floor. It's alright, here's fine. Tanaka stepped in beside him and abruptly shut the bathroom door. Now the two men were crammed together in the narrow lavatory. Hey, Osawa hissed. What the hell are you doing? Tanaka made eye contact with Osawa via the mirror. He spoke in a hushed voice. I've been waiting for a moment I could get you alone. What? Tanaka sidled around to face him, giving him an intense stare. Sir, could you please be quiet for a moment? Tanaka had tears in the corners of his eyes. This only took a moment. Osawa could feel the warm breath of his deputy whispering against his cheek. Tanaka reached for something inside his coat. Hey, come on, knock it off. Osawa lifted the plunger like a weapon. Look, if you want to talk, we can do it out there. Osawa shoved Tanaka out of the bathroom. Alright, do as you wish. Osawa closed his eyes. Alright, do as you wish. Osawa closed his eyes. Are you sure you're ready for this? No, I'm not sure. This is all happening pretty fast. To be honest, I'm rather nervous. I understand, sir. I mean, now that I think of it, we do spend day in and day out in that lab together. I suppose this was bound to happen sooner or later. Sir, could you please open your eyes? I'd like you to look at this. You have to forgive me. This is all a bit sudden. Please, sir, take a look. No, I can't. It's just the two of us. It's probably going to shock you, I know. Oh, please, just look. Is it really that shocking? Oh, yes, very. Now, please, open your eyes. Okay. No, I can't. Sir, trust me, this isn't easy for me either. Alright. Bracing himself, Osawa opened his eyes. Tanaka thrust out a cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa blinked bewildered, then focused on the phone. He could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. Cliffhanger? Keep out! What a cliffhanger!